Hello. I wonder if that is on. Hello, welcome. Fancy meeting you here in this little old place. I'm Tish and this is Echo Echo. We are doing some politics. Doesn't everybody like politics? Right? Nobody's sick of it. Like, it hasn't been my constant obsession for the last 6 months. Hey, lucky. No, that's pretty unhealthy, hyper-focus. I could definitely have a better hyper-focus than politics. However, I'm going to try and use it for good and not evil. Hello, Demi. Yes, because so many people are using power for evil at the moment. And yeah, it's interesting times. We're kind of like in a limbo, you know. America just had their election. That was bad. But I was thinking about it yesterday, and this is going to come out sounding bad, but let it cook. Just let it cook. And it was more because of what the Democrats doing than the Republicans, because they're also, let's not separate. Okay, just from the get-go, let's not separate Republicans and MAGA and Trump. They're all one. They all are together. They're as bad as each other. They all support each other. Every one of those Republican senators votes with Trump. They support his picks. They, like, as soon as he, you know, they'll be bad-mouthing somebody and then Trump will put them in and they'll go, oh, I love Kash Patel now. I've changed my tune. They all do it. They all take a knee. And so when everything is destroyed, which I think is going to happen, unfortunately, those Republicans who said, oh, we're not MAGA. We're not MAGA. No. We're trying to fight the good fight from within. No, they're as guilty as the rest of them. So don't let them do that. I think it's a really, really a way of hedging their bets. And that's the canary in the mine. The American election and the French one and the Canadian one and the British one it's a canary in the mine saying, yo, there's stuff going on here that is bad, and Australia you need to make sure that this doesn't happen where you are, because the trend isn't that it is heading more conservative. Yes, that is a trend, but the actual trend is changing. I cling to hope by thinking that one of my regular cousins who confessed to me he stopped voting. Yeah, I hope so, Demi. I think that I don't think Donald Trump won the election. I think the Democrats lost it. They could not entice enough people to get off the couch and vote, because it just, there was nothing that was going to be different. It was just going to be Biden part 2.0. And that's where I was going with this comment. Chuck Schumer was talking about something where he's made a backroom deal to get something out of something, and I'm like, this is the problem. The Democrats they never wanted democracy. They just wanted power. They don't want to change. They like it. Nancy Pelosi is so rich. Chuck Schumer, they're all those top people are so rich, and they've done democracy a certain way, which isn't democracy. They've done it a certain way for so long that they're not willing to change. I think definitely that she was a woman did not help. But this is what Stream's about. If I think that they could have won if they had gone back on Gaza. That one thing, I think that could 2 more million people come out and vote? Yep, maybe more. And I feel like they didn't hit abortion hard enough. But I don't think that Kamala would have been a good president. She's milquetoast. She's not very passionate. Like, I don't think she touched the working class. She wanted to work with big business. That's why Mark Cuban was still on stuff. Yeah, I think it was definitely misogyny. Definitely played a part. Yeah, absolutely, William. The Democrats were not different enough from the Republicans. It was Republican light, and this bullshit about being, oh, it's left wing. Oh, they went left. They went left. No, they didn't. If you know what? Left wing policies, if you don't call them left wing, are very popular. Medicare for all, free healthcare, um, you know, subsidized housing. Like, if they had have hit the economic issues, because yes, the jobs numbers were good. Yes, stock market was up. Inflation was down. Da 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 da. All of those things were true. It didn't make life any easier financially day to day, and that's what they needed to address. Because she started out with the price gouging and then stopped, and then think of yeah, and it was like, we're not Trump. That's our big draw card. Oh, and we're going to be campaigning with Liz Cheney, who voted 98% of the time with Donald Trump, and a couple of years ago was saying that Democrats were executing babies after they were born, as part of it, to be anti-abortion. Liz Cheney, daughter of Dick Cheney, one of the all-time worst war criminals not to see justice in the world, who legislated torture, that Cheney family. Yeah, we're going to go that direction. Like, what are you thinking?
and going towards immigration as like just leave immigration alone, let Trump, you know. Considering, look, it wasn't a landslide. No one even got 50%. Donald Trump got 49 and she got 48, I think. There's 2 million people in it. And, like, it's crazy to me because we have compulsory voting in Australia. It's crazy to me that you don't have compulsory voting. How? Like, I just don't understand. How don't people want to vote? That's what I don't understand as well. Like, how do you not want? Yeah. And education, that's it, education. So, just before we get into things, I'll just tell you my biases so that it's clear, it's out in the open. I am left wing. I'm a member of the Australian Greens Party, and in my local group, I just nominated and was yeah. I don't know, Demi. I think that a lot of I think there's a lot of smart people who stay home. I think that because they've always said this is what the Democrats said. We just need people to turn out. When people turn out, Democrats win. That's what they say. Um, and it was proven true that people didn't turn out, they didn't win. Uh, yeah. Oh, so I'm going to be the one of the social media people for my local Greens party or group, like my local area, because I'm doing I'm doing well on Blue Sky. Join me on Blue Sky. I'm loving it. It's great. Oh my, I've got like a portable air conditioner because my air conditioner in both my office and my bedroom are broken. Thanks a lot, teacher housing. Um, it's so hot at the moment too. Yeah, absolutely. I think another problem she had, like, she didn't shore up her base. It was all swing voters, you know. Um, yeah, I found that quite strange, actually. Yeah, I don't think she should run again though. She's not popular. My Blue Sky handle is Echo Echo Tish, and I made a little anti-MLM list, and that was difficult because I had to find like 7 people, and Aaron's on there, uh, Kat Benson's on there. Mabel, what are you doing? Mabel. Yeah, there's a few people on there. Oh my goodness. My monitor. That's good. My monitor is going weird. Yeah, so what's going on, monitor? I've moved my office around if you haven't noticed, peoples. Uh so I've got a Christmassy up the back. What's going on with my monitor? Yeah. Um yeah, exactly. Exactly, but I think it's going to be different once he gets in. I honestly think we're not ready for the shenanigans. I notice I haven't been hearing about mass deportations. Uh, although the psycho he put in charge of that is definitely thinking about it and has been speaking about it. It was phenomenal that Matt Gaetz stepped down. Amazing. That was so good. I just was like, that was going to be the test for the Republicans to bend the knee, and they looked like they were going to do it. The next big headache, Pete Hegseth. How about his mum? His mum's email saying you're a despicable man. And then she's taken it back. Honey, it was too specific. We know that you meant that in the moment. Mabel is like caught up in the back of my air conditioner. That's what I was saying before. Hang on, I'm gonna get her because she is annoying me. Mabel, get out from there now. Come on, out. Get out from there now. Don't go there. Get. I think she found the ball. Mabel! She just immediately went back to it as soon as I turned the camera back on. Mabel! Get out of there! Get out! She's so naughty. Okay. Yeah, so his mum writing this email to him about what a despicable man he is for cheating on his wife and so on. What's going on at Fox? Because there's that whole like history of sexual harassment. She gone back in. Mabel, stay here, please. She's so naughty. And then we've got Jesse Waters, who either slashed or let down the tires of a female co-worker so she could get a lift home with him, and then ended up having an affair and then got married. Pete Hegseth got a co-worker at Fox knocked up and ended up marrying her. So they always end up having affairs and then getting married. So then it's like, oh, it's okay, we got married. No. Anyway, so having looked at a few of the post-mortems from the election, there's a couple of things that can be attributed to the loss. And for me, one of the main ones, I think, was Gaza. There's been a few others. I think also the person we need to blame is Joe fucking Biden. Joe fucking Biden. That selfish old man. You got that right, William. Family values, yeah. And it's always, the Republicans are always, every accusation is a confession, and it's rules for thee and not for me every single time. Yeah, Joe Biden was supposed to just be keeping the seat warm while the Democrats sorted their shit out. What did they do? They didn't sort their shit out. And he shouldn't have been running, and then there would have been a primary, and then they would have had something to run on instead of just Trump bad. He then, once he just had the most ridiculous stances, and this is something, this Emma Vigeland. So one of my big inspirations for talking politics has been the Majority Report, and they're not strictly left wing. I'd say Sam is leftish, but he is a liberal, but he's definitely pro-Palestine, and he's Jewish. Also,
Sorry, I should also say that when I talk about Israel, I'm only talking about Israel and not Judaism as a whole. There's a lot of anti-Zionist Jewish people. There's a really good podcast called the Bad Haspera podcast. Amazing, like really good, and pro-Palestine. And I think both of them are Jewish. And Daniel Marte's father was also a concentration camp survivor. To be anti-Zionist is not equal to being anti-Semitic. I've got deep, deep respect for Judaism. I've been to Germany twice. I really love World War II history. I used to watch documentaries all the time, and I've just been dipping back into it, and just the parallels, like without even sort of like consciously doing it, I'm hearing things that I've heard said, done during the Trump election, because you see, Hitler was elected too. And then once he was elected, then he took power as chancellor, and then blah, blah, rest is history, literally. He also had quite a number of assassination attempts that he survived, and he used it as providence in that, oh, I'm meant to be here. Yeah, so I also considered converting to Judaism at one point in time. Yeah, I've got a great deal of respect. I've been to concentration camps. I've been to the Holocaust Museum a couple of times. It's amazing. Yeah, so I went to Sachsenhausen, which is the concentration camp outside of Berlin. I have wanted to go to Auschwitz, but when I was in Europe, it was just a bit too expensive. Like, I went to the main cities. It was a bit expensive to go to Poland from Germany. Yeah, absolutely, William. They would have had more time to pick a platform. And it would have been finance, and women's rights. I think that, they didn't, I just don't think that they centered their program on the issues that were going to touch people. Yeah, I've been to the other place that is really special, that I appreciate having gone to, is in Amsterdam. I went to Anne Frank's attic. I went for a tour of the attic, and when I was there, I tried to walk as softly as I could to see how loud, because they had to be silent during the day, like silent. And, this is an old school house, like, oh, well, place of business. And then it had the attic at the top, and it had this precarious little like stairs that were just creaky. So you wouldn't have gone on the stairs at all during the day. But it was difficult to move around in the space without making any noise. But yeah, it was very special to have gone there. And like I said, I've got deep respect for Judaism and Jewish people and what they've been through. Anti-Semitism is just disgusting. And there's quite a few Christian Zionists who are pro-Israel because they think, oh, what is it? It's something like once they have their own land, then Jesus is going to come back or something. Hang on. This is what I need to. Christian Zionists. Christian Zionists. This is why Mike Huckabee is a Christian Zionist, and he has this belief about the Israel. Christian Zionists believe Israel. What will bring second. I need to get it right because I don't. Okay, so the re-establishment of Jewish sovereignty in Israel will have the second coming of Jesus Christ. And then I think there's something about wiping them out. Like they don't really care about that. They just care about bringing them back. The Antichrist is in. Oh, thank you, AI overview. Christian Zionists believe that the second coming of Christ will be preceded by the re-establishment of Jewish sovereignty in the Levant, known as the Gathering of Israel. This is the belief that the founding of Israel in 1948 was in accordance with biblical prophecies. So they believe that they return of Jewish people to Israel, the rebuilding of the temple and the temple of the Mount in Jerusalem. The Antichrist and his 70-year empire will be destroyed in the Battle of Armageddon, and Jesus Christ will set up his throne in Jerusalem and establish an eternal kingdom. Christian Zionists believe the existence of Israel is important for fulfilling biblical prophecy, and that the re-establishment of Israel's political boundaries is a sign end times are near. That sounds grim. Yeah, exactly, William. My issues when past historical trauma is used to justify modern atrocities. Absolutely. Like, how are you gonna have a Holocaust, a genocide of another people, and not even a people who've tried to genocide you? And I know there's a whole lot of people who will say, oh, but in the Muslim religion, they want to kill all of the non-Muslims, and there's some readings of the Bible that are similar and the other way around. But also, guess what? Not all Palestinians are Muslim. There are Christian Palestinians, there are Jewish Palestinians, there are a variety of Palestinians. So that is a big problem. And I'm agnostic, so I don't know what's out there, but I think that there's something. I tried to be an atheist, but as somebody who has major depressive disorder, I just couldn't be. I couldn't be atheist. It was too grim. I just went, there has to be something else out there, right? I'm like, anyway, so we've got all the canaries in the mine in the American election. We have an election, a federal election coming up. We had a Queensland election, which is my state, and the Conservative one. I was sleepwalking, honestly, during that election, which is bad because I'm employed by the government. I should have been really taking notice of it. So that's why I'm going to be talking more Australian politics. I know that my anti-MLM crowd probably is not going to be interested in that, but that's okay. And I'm hoping also to start a podcast. I've got somebody I'd like to start a podcast with, and I'm hoping he's keen, but I don't know yet. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do it anyway, but I just want somebody to do it with me. Yeah, absolutely. Like it is really hard to sympathize with Israel Jewish people. Yeah. The link is very strong, you know. I get it. The problem is like they just sort of yeah, absolutely. It has to be like South Africa, and where there are going to be, and it started, the ICC has issued warrants, so that is the first step in it stopping. And it's so funny that Biden was like, oh, the ICC has no jurisdiction over this and they're not legitimate in this case, but they are legitimate when they put out a warrant for Putin. Yes, that's who won the election, Putin. Yeah. So the Australians, the Conservatives won the Queensland election, and that, like, I don't think it's not going to change life, like, hugely, really. Although they have criminalized young people. Yeah. Yep. So one of the big slogans of the Conservatives was adult crime, adult time. And it's like, dudes, you've got sociologists and psychologists and psychiatrists and every social workers and counselors and teachers and parents who are saying that doesn't work. That doesn't rehabilitate children. You need different, like, outreaches. Anyway, so the federal election is coming up soon, and we do have a pretty strong Greens party. We've got some good, strong leaders. We've got people who are elected. This is why the American Greens don't do any well, is there's no grassroots. It's all just president, like Jill Stein running for president. And it's like, where are you the rest of the time? So the Greens party here is not like that. They've got people in local council, local government, state, federal, like, they're all over the place. So that is really, really great. But unfortunately, our Labor Party, which is similar to the Democratic Party, and Labor Party, they used to be associated with the unions. And that's where a lot of their leaders came from. Our prime ministers were union leaders and so on, Labor prime ministers. The opposing party is actually a coalition of Liberal and National, and the Nationals are real country conservative. The Liberals are just, they're sort of like, have that same reputation of Republicans in that, oh, they're better with money, that whole shit. But Peter Dutton, I'll show you a picture of him because he is gross and I cannot stand him. I just know what. Yeah, Peter Dutton is the leader of the opposition. So Labor currently is in power. And the thing that's been happening around the world at the moment is, doesn't matter which party is in power, because of the times, people just want change. And so they have generally been like, just electing people who are the opposite party because they want change. I don't know if I've got any pictures of him. I think Peter Dutton, he often gets called Mr. Potato Head, but also I call him Voldemort because he's got a real snaky nose. He's got a Charlie Kirk look about him, actually. Hang on, let me share my window, share my screen. Better with money. Yeah, I know, right, William? Okay, so no, go away. Okay. Why isn't it doing that? Okay, Peter Dutton. There we go. That's him. I wonder if there's one where he looks like, because I think he looks like Voldemort. Where is he? There's this really good picture of him that was from, like, some speech he was in, and he's like standing in the dark. It's the creepiest picture. Anyway, he sucks. Just BT dubs.
Yeah, see? There he is. That's him. It's uncanny. Screen sharing's not allowed. Can you see that? Can you guys see the picture? I don't know if it's showing. Yeah. He the other thing, so they have already been talking to the American strategists, strategists for Trump's win, and it's like, what are you doing? We also have a billionaire who is trying to buy herself a prime ministership. Gina Reinhardt is her name. She's a mining. She's a nepo baby. Her father was the one who got all the mining like money. Guess where Gina Reinhardt was on November 6th? At Mar-a-Lago, celebrating with Trump. She's revolting. She's like one of the worst humans. She's just, I don't think billionaires should exist, and that's it. Once you reach a billion, I think you should go back to the beginning, because there is no ethical billionaire, even Taylor Swift. There is no ethical billionaire. I think it's okay to be comfortable in life, but not billions. You don't need it. You do not need it. So what needs to happen in Australia? They need to listen. They need to learn a lesson from the Democrats. Now, if anyone knows, there's a centrist sort of crooked media. They're on YouTube, and they have Pod Save America, and the Kamala Harris team went on there, and they went on as a team because they want to get work again, but they're basically losers. These people lost spectacularly, and they had a lead. They were leading. They had a really good start with, we're not going back. They're weird, and just Joe Biden's out of the race. Like there was momentum in the case there, because people, Gen Z, and people pro-Palestine were like, okay, this is it. This could be it. This is going to get us voting. And then hit DNC convention, and she started on with this war hawk stuff, and it never improved. It was a Hail Mary, absolutely. But that was Biden's team. That was Biden's team. And that team also threw her under the bus and said, that's what she wanted to do. That's what she wanted to do. We tested this. We tested that. That's what she wanted to do. And they said things like, well, she didn't want to go against Joe because she felt like she was part of the administration. True. All right. True. However, wasn't democracy on the line here? Like, democracy was on the line. We need to win it at all costs, right? So if it means, and you don't have to denigrate the man, right? You can say, at the time, it seemed like I was on board. I've really considered it now, and I think that Israel we need to sanctions, or no, she could have even gone, Netanyahu he's a war criminal as judged by blah blah blah. He may be committing genocide, and that's something we need to stop. As a matter of international law, she could have come at it that way. That's what she did with the trans stuff. I will follow the law.
I will follow the law. Yeah, well, that's a law too, honey. Anyway, one thing Emma Vigeland from Majority Report says, and I agree, is that in a few years' time, when people start writing books about Biden, I think we're going to find out that his mental decline is started last year, year before. And that's where this Gaza stuff has come out of. His brain is cooked and he's going back to reset because he is such a Zionist that he's just like latched onto it. Unwavering, uncompromising, just like he's Netanyahu's bitch. He looks so weak that Netanyahu just bosses him around. And everybody knew that Netanyahu wanted Trump to win, but Biden still wouldn't break with him. It was just insane. Wasn't democracy on the line? Democracy was on the line. Wasn't it on the line? And then they go around with Warhawk Liz Cheney. So they're the mistakes. Another mistake was not focusing on immigration and saying, like, we need to stop that, blah, blah. Everybody needs immigration, okay? The economy, not having a view to serve working class people and low income, the poor, houseless, etc., etc. There's no plan for them. How are you going to make everyday life easier for everyday people? Because that is what's important. I think they're the main things. We just had a social media ban for young people here. Don't know why. Yeah, that's right. Stand for something or fall for everything. Yeah. So I think that the social media ban is going to bite them in the ass because a whole lot of people in a couple of years' time are going to be voting, and they're going to know the Labor government as the ones who banned social media. Do I think social media is fantastic for young people? No. And the algorithms are designed to fuel hate. And I'm going to do a pre-recorded video about young people because Gen Z men are being targeted in a different way, and I can see it happening as teenagers, and parents need to really be looking at what their young people are consuming, because like I've overheard things in my classroom where I think that there are 12-year-olds who are gambling, like who have a gambling problem because they're watching it on Twitch and streamers and things like that. Like gambling, crazy. So there are streamers who just that's their content, gambling. So it's really concerning. And looking at that conservative sort of incel mindset, it's quite prevalent. It's misogynistic, it's misogynoir, yeah. And so that side of social media is very destructive. But I think that the social media ban, I think what they could have done is put more pressure on the social media platforms to do better. There are problems with bullying. There are problems, and now bullies can reach you in your bedroom because they're on social media. There are problems with predators, but guess what? The parents need to be there. Like it's not, except for when the 16-year-olds eventually vote the current Labour. Yeah, true. Yeah, I don't think it's the state's responsibility to do. It's the parents. The parents need to take more responsibility, and that's coming from a teacher as well. Okay, the amount of crap that I'm expected to do, like I am expected to parent your children. Like I have had conversations where it was like that, and it's like, no, no, I am not a parent. I have chosen not to be a parent. And like I've even kind of like had joking conversations with parents. So it's like, oh, yeah, no, I'm not a parent, I've got dogs instead of kids. Ha ha ha. Like just having a joke with some people. And it's like, yeah, because I didn't want to be a parent. Parents need to start taking a stand. And it's on a variety of things like vaping, social media, contact, like just, going out, getting them so that you know what they're consuming online, because I can see that there are some people who um, are not being selective with what their kids are reading and watching and listening to, because the right wing sphere on social media has a stranglehold on people, and it is full of misinformation and lies. Oh my God. As someone who had to stop an unattended child from jumping up and down on a toy in the store I work at today, parents don't care what their kids are doing, and unfortunately, yeah. Yeah, that's it. That leads to some who want to forcibly control others, arguing for government control of others' children, including book bans. Oh, book bans. Yeah, I know that I can imagine it's quite difficult not to want moments of peace and quiet. So you give your kid the iPad or whatever. And I don't want to judge too harshly on that, because, everybody needs downtime, everybody needs a bit of a chill out. But choice to be a parent, and yeah, that's why I'm not a parent. I'm too selfish. I'm so selfish. And you cannot be selfish when you're a parent. You just can't. Yeah. Right. Is Illinois a blue state or a red state? The book bans also are so ridiculous. And it's so funny because yeah, William. People should be parents because they want to. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. So it shouldn't be too bad in Illinois as far as book bans go. I just think it's so silly. Do they not realize that banning a book makes it hotter than ever? Like people want to, and south of Peoria, you're basically in the Confederacy, but Chicago more than makes up for it. Oh, okay, right. See, I think that there's parts of California, Carolina, California that are like that because it's such a big state. And then when I was talking to Belle, I'm like, man, you guys are like, California is so big, it could be its own country. You think about like those little European countries, it could be its own country. And, like I know that there was a bit of a back and forth between Trump and
and Gavin Newsom about like funding, and it's like, well, you know that California could just keep their taxes and not send them federally. And then what? Like you need to give and take as well. Um, yeah, 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 exactly. Um, and I think that whole United States, it's almost like now at the moment, it is almost like a Commonwealth, like where we in Australia we're connected to the mother country, England, and then, but we're a Commonwealth nation, we're connected to them, and it's almost like that, like where we've got this one thing, but not everybody votes for it. Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think also the other thing that Labor could do if they wanted to win, legalize it. Get legalizing marijuana, get it legalized, make some money off it. It will be a big money earner for the government. Um, it'll be definitely a lot better in Australian society than other drugs that have notoriously been, like alcohol in Australia is such a destructive force. It definitely, there's like domestic violence, there's like violence, on nights out, there's all of those sorts of things. Mm. So I think that they could do some good stuff with legalizing uh, THC, marijuana, all that sort of industry, because it's here. It's just you have to get prescribed, uh, and yeah, I think that could be a good thing for them. But they really need to, I think. I'm not sure if they have had a survey. Let me have a look. Gotta get to the Amnesty International. I'm just having a chat at the moment. Please. Okay. Australian support Palestine. So we have actually split. We have backed the UN resolution finally. It took them ages to do this, but Australia splits with the US to back UN resolution demanding the end to Israel occupation of Palestinian territories. Oh, absolutely, William. Yep. Uh, I'm not scared of many people, but yeah, I'll take someone a high person than somebody who's drunk. Um, Same with like, this is gonna sound bad, but I'll take a student. I'll take a student who's high. They just sit at their desk, might have a snooze. They've definitely snuck in a little snack. You know, they're not no harm. Than somebody who's like, you know, a violent person or whatever. I'll take someone who's high over any other. It's like that student's not giving me any trouble. They're just having a snooze. Maybe they'll, laugh at something I said. I'm funny though. um, so that's good. I think that they have started on that track. Um, However, I don't know if they're still funding.
Yeah. Oh, that sucks. Demi? My dad, my dad is an alcoholic too, but he got sober and he'll have a drink now and then now, but he's okay. Like it's not like it was. And I think he was deeply depressed at the time, so it's much different now that he's older. There was some pretty hairy times though. However, I had always moved out of home at that time, and so I never had a run-in with my dad, and he lives with me now, so we get along most of the time. Well, blame that on Frida. Frida, she just hates him, and he just can't deal with it. He cannot deal with it. I'm like, Dad, I'm sorry. She's a dog. Cannot be explained. Yes. Uh, more Australians are in favour of, that's in May. 35% of Australians think that Australian government should recognise Palestine as an independent state. I would say it's much worse now. Yeah, I've been there, Demi. Actually, when I was 12, I think my dad couldn't deal with me going through puberty. It was very stressful for him. I can laugh about it now because it's like I can recognize that he was, you know, he was pretty young when I was born. Um, the Jewish Independent. I don't know if I should take this as a. I don't know what the. Okay, let's have a look at this article. So, Penny Wong is the Foreign Minister of Australia. Let me know if you can see it. I'm going to do this. Let me zoom in. Why isn't it showing the whole thing? Yes. Oh, yeah. Okay. So this, I don't know the. Is that the collective noun for stoners? A cocktail? A cocktail of stoners. So the Jewish Independent, I don't know what their point of view is. Well, now I do because they're calling it the Israel-Hamas war. It's not a war, it's genocide. The significance of Australia's changing position on a Palestinian state. This is from 3 days ago. The government's creeping recognition. So creeping is something I'm guessing is like a little bit negative. Recognition of Palestinian statehood as well back in the pack. It will have no impact on the region, but may help its electoral prospects. That's what I'm hoping. So Penny Wong is our foreign minister. She has been pro-Israel the whole time. I've been disgusted by her. I thought that she would be our first elected female prime minister, and I thought that would be a good thing. And now her legacy is the genocide on Gaza, which she has vocally supported. Oh, this is the 4th of December. Oh, I'm like, hang on. That's like 2 days ago. It is 3 days ago. Australia's vote this week in support of the UN General Assembly resolution aimed at creating an irreversible pathway to a Palestinian state caps a year of important symbolic changes by the Albanese government on this issue. But there's a fatal flaw at the heart of the government's policy of creeping recognition of Palestinian statehood.
The rate of the creep cannot possibly match the pace at which the mirage of Palestinian statehood is evaporating. Yeah, well, is that because Israel is trying to destroy it at a monumentally quick pace? Maybe. Shifts in Australia's voting at the United Nations, accompanied by the mantra of a two-state solution, do not compete with facts on the ground in both Israel and the US. Still, with the federal election looming, these factors might help soothe anger inside and outside the ALP over the government's handling of the Gaza war. Yeah, that's exactly it, William. We're not going to be bullied anymore, so they bully everybody else. Yeah. Last May, Australia was one of the 143 United Nations members to support a General Assembly resolution providing the Palestinians with what? Yes, that. Every single time. Whenever you see Benjamin Netanyahu on the screen, the first thing, the anti-Semitic ICC, the anti-Semitic blah, 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 anti-Semitic Hamas, anti-Semitic, it's always anti-Semitism. And you're not the victim when you are the one with the death rate where it is. Shifts in Australia, providing the Palestinians with what Foreign Minister Penny Wong described as modest additional rights to participate in UN forums. Wong made clear that Australia's support for the resolution did not equate to recognition of the Palestinian state. At a UN meeting in late September, Wong repeated the time-worn call for a two-state solution to break the cycle of violence with a Palestinian state and Israel existing side by side within internationally recognized borders. Yeah, that's okay as long as the Palestinians are in charge of their own state. They need to be in charge of their own state. It's not to be controlled by the US, Israel, Egypt, Syria, Iraq, any other place in there. The Palestinians need to control it. Is the anti-Japanese mentality in China, is that a hangover from World War II as well? Just curious on that one. Acknowledging the obvious in early November, Wong stated that breaking the cycle of violence remained a distant prospect, not supported by many in the Netanyahu government, even though Israel's own long-term security required it. In mid-November, and for the first time ever, Australia voted to support a UN committee resolution recognising the permanent sovereignty of the Palestinian people in the occupied Palestinian territory, including East Jerusalem, over their natural resources. Australia's vote was explained as reflecting concern about Israeli actions that impeded Palestinian access to natural resources, like they're not allowed to collect rainwater, they're not allowed to have water, they have to hide the water that they have, and they're not only provided it like restrictedly from Israel, if at all at the moment. I don't think they are provided with water at the moment. About land depossession, demolitions, and settler violence. Now Australia has added its support to the idea of irreversible pathway to Palestinian statehood. Ahead of the vote, a spokesman for Wong commented that if, on balance, we believe the resolution will contribute to peace and a two-state solution, we will vote for it. The pattern of Australia voting in 2024 shows a refreshing independence from joining the US and Israel, either to oppose such resolutions or playing safe and abstaining on them. But will it have any practical impact? This seems fairly subjective, not biased too much. Just how can any meaningful process, let alone an irreversible pathway towards a Palestinian state, emerge from the rubble of the Gaza war? As Australia inched towards recognising Palestinian statehood, a Netanyahu government actually outlawed the two-state solution itself. Of course it did. Of course it did. Australia's thinking about Palestinian statehood has shifted from being an endpoint to a waypoint, but it's well back in the past. Knesset resolution in February 2024, sponsored by Netanyahu, rejected the unilateral establishment of a Palestinian state. A follow-up resolution in July passed 68 votes to 9, rejected the establishment of a Palestinian state west of Jordan, even as part of a negotiated settlement. Jordan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs described the resolution as dangerous, a violation of international law. There is now a predictable flurry of discussion about Trump's unpredictability. Also, Trump took money from a very, very rich Israeli widow, Miriam Adelson. Yeah, that makes sense, William. Miriam Adelson is Sheldon Adelson's widow. They're very rich billionaire Israelis, Zionists, and she gave him $100 million to annex the West Bank, which is not even like, I just love that they give away land that doesn't even belong to them. It's so crazy. It's so crazy to me. I just, like, it doesn't make sense to me in my brain, like how is this a thing? Colonialism, Tish. Colonialism and white supremacy. Where are we? We have two form guides for his likely approach to Israel-Palestine. One is the first Trump presidency, the other the senior foreign policy appointments for his second. Both are bad news for Australia's policy approach. In late January 2020, Trump unveiled his vision for Israeli-Palestinian peace. This gave Prime Minister Netanyahu close to everything he could have wished: annexation of the Israeli settlement blocks in the West Bank, permanent Israel control of the Jordan Valley, a Palestinian entity so sliced and diced and otherwise enfeebled to make it a mockery of the very concept of statehood. Oh, absolutely, Demi. And add some patriarchy in there, and you got everybody just living under like shitty rules except for rich, white, cis, het men. Ooh, I think I've read White Swan a long time ago. Yeah, and that's it. Like, what we're seeing at the moment with Israel and Palestine is the history of colonialism. This is what they did when they came to Australia, and they killed all the First Nations people, and they gave them blankets infested with like some sort of disease. They used chemical weapons. They put poison, they gave them flour with poison in it, like they shot them with guns. There's massacre sites all over Australia. And they did it with the Indians in America and Indigenous people in Canada. Like, there's colonialism all over the world, but we think it's a part of our past. It's historical. But no, it's still happening today, and we're watching it. That's what this is. It's colonialism, and it's taking away, like, it's genociding the people for land. The air of unreality about Trump's vision was heightened by his son-in-law Jared Kushner's economic vision for Gaza. The peace-loving Palestinians, their minds wiped of any memory of mutual Israeli-Palestinian brutality, would pass their days shopping in high-rise malls dotting the Gazan landscape, where they didn't own anything. Ooh, yeah, exactly. And it's so funny to me. there's some really, really fundamentalist, like religious people who are First Nations people, and it's like this is a white man's, like, they brought it here and they forced it on you, and now you're like repeating that. It's disappointing sometimes when you see that. Both versions were the stuff of hallucinogenic dreams. Early in 2024, Kushner contributed to discussion about the day after. Thank you for that context, William. In Gaza by urging Israel to push Palestinians into Egypt or Israel's Negev desert. That would enable Israel to finish the job in Gaza and clean up its valuable waterfront property. Because it's on a beach. Like, I don't know why, because like I'd never really known much about the region. And I've been to United Arab Emirates, just, passing through to go to Europe. But it's on, there's a beach, there's waterfront property, Kushner's views sit all too easily with those of the former Israeli Justice Minister Ayelet Shaked, who was recently denied a visa to visit Australia. Well, we also didn't allow Candace Owens in, so I'm okay with some of the people who we do not let in. Those upset by Australia's decision might reflect on Shaked's comments in an interview in late 2023. We need to take advantage of the destruction that we will wreak upon them in order to tell these countries of the world that each of them should take a quota. We need 2 million to leave. In all honesty, that's the solution for Gaza. Yeah, no, I'm glad we didn't let him in as either. Fuck that guy. Many would rightly see this as a call for ethnic cleansing. Yeah, that's what it is. We need to get rid of the 2 million people here. Ethnic cleansing, yes. Australia's thinking about Palestinian statehood has shifted from being an endpoint to a waypoint, but Australia is well back in the pack. Currently, some 145 of the UN's 193 member states recognise Palestine as a state. These figures include almost half the G20 states. Norway, Spain, and Ireland announced recognition during 2024. That welcome trend now confronts a huge reality check. There's no chance the US will permit the UN to upgrade Palestine status. No US support equals no Palestinian state. I mean, that's true. They won't do it. Yeah, true. That's true, William. Trump's choice for his second administration makes clear that there's no chance that the US will permit the UN Security Council to upgrade Palestine's status from that of an observer to a full state. No US support equals no Palestinian state. Senator Marco Rubio, little Marco, for Trump's nominee for Secretary of State, was recently described by the Republican Jewish Coalition as an outspoken defender of Israel who has always had the Jewish state's back, and he will do that. And also, he's a war hawk. So all the shit about Donald Trump being anti-war, it's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. And that is shown in choosing Marco Rubio for Secretary of State, because he is a war hawk. And when he was president, he launched more drone attacks. He assassinated a top Iranian official. He said he was going to bring people back from Iraq. He didn't do that, and he purposely left it to Biden because he knew it was going to be a mess. Yeah, he was not an anti-war president. That's a myth. That sounds like an understatement. Compared to the enthusiasm for Israel, the next US ambassador, former Arkansas governor and Christian evangelist Mike Huckabee, will bring to the job. And he's one of these Christian Zionists who believe that we need to establish the state
to bring back the second coming of Jesus. You know, in that 2,000-year-old book with our imaginary friend, it's like this is deciding people's fucking life and death, you know? Yeah, exactly, Demi. Any American president, and all American presidents have been war criminals as well. Like they just are. He is on record as declaring that Israel has a title deed to Judea, and Samaria, that there is no such thing as occupation, no such thing as settlements, their communities, their neighborhoods, their cities. And I believe he's also said there's no such thing as a Palestinian. So that's grim. And I know that a lot of people are like, oh, but, you know, like, well, you should have voted for Kamala. She wouldn't be doing this. No, 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 no. When around about a month out from the election, they sent a letter to Netanyahu saying, we're very cross at you. You're not providing enough aid to Palestine. You've got 30 days to provide this, and this to Palestine, or something might happen. We might have to sanction you, or we might have to not send you money. And guess what happened? The 30 days passed. They didn't do any of the list, and nothing fucking happened. And Blinken basically said it was never going to, like, it was just a ploy. I know that Kamala, she just might, the genocide's already happening. Like, what's worse than a genocide? Nothing. Like, it's already happening. And that's why, like, I don't take that on as like, well, you know, she would have been better for Gaza. No, it was already happening. It was already happening. Yeah, exactly. Kamala would have put a more likable face to the war crimes. That's it. Oh, I can sort of like feel good about my liberal values because I helped to vote the first Black and Asian woman prime minister, president of America. And it is so crazy that America has not had a female president yet, because you look at all the countries around the world that have had female leaders, nearly like a lot of countries that seem like they wouldn't, like India, Pakistan, Mexico. There's female leaders everywhere, and America still hasn't had them. We've only had one in Australia, but really, America? They really do hate women. So where does this leave Australia's government's flirtation with Palestinian statehood? The government is rightly concerned with community cohesion as well as its own. Witness the wrath of Senator Fatima Payman. I love Fatima Payman. She's amazing. I wish she joined the Greens Party, but she started her own. But anyway, she brought on her own head when she supported the Greens resolution embodying the ALP's platform's position on Palestine. She crossed the floor. It was huge, and they censored her. Like, she got, I don't know, there was some sort of thing with the Labor Party where, you know, like she got in trouble, and then she left, and she's now independent. She's got her own party. Yeah. Look, I feel really bad for Julia Gillard now, because I think that I wish she hadn't have done it how she did it. I think she's an amazing leader, and her misogyny speech, fucking banger. Like, it's so good. Yeah. I was just a bit of a sap for Kevin. That's all. I like Kevin. Kevin 07.
Yeah, but she's amazing. She's a great politician, and I wish it had been different, because she could have been really great. Yeah, and I thought Penny Wong, like I said, I thought she was going to be the first elected prime minister. Not anymore. She's got blood on her hands. Now, Fatima Payman, she is the senator for Western Australia. She crossed the floor to vote with the other parties and got kicked out. Oh, well, maybe she left. I don't know if she left or she got kicked out. Penny Wong said that she voted with the party, and she had to, because out of loyalty to the party, even on gay marriage, because Penny Wong is a lesbian, and is married to her partner, her wife, and she voted against gay marriage to stay loyal to the party. And that's what she said that Fatima Payman should do about Palestine. So that shows you the character of Penny Wong. And I don't think that's much character, to be honest. I think that's really gross, that you would go against your own interests like that. Why be an elected official to go against your own? I mean, there's heaps of Republicans who do that, and Richie Torres. Oof. Now, one thing we do have that's really good, it's not the same in America, is shorter election time, and there's not as much money in it. There's still money, but there's not as much. Yeah. In the world of Trump, whatever the Australian government does or says about Israel Palestine will not make one iota of difference within the region, but it just might help shape the Australian government's domestic electoral prospects. There being more Muslim than Jewish voters to be won over. It could also help them to end the farce of Australian preaching a two-state solution while recognising only one of them. Mm-hmm. That article was pretty good. I just joined Ground News. So that's Penny Wong there. Ground News shows you, yeah, I agree, William. Ground News sort of tells you what's leaning, like what the leaning is, like where the party, like where the article is, like if it's left, right, center, who's reporting on it, who's not reporting on it. So, for instance, the CEO of that healthcare company, a lot of the left wing is talking about like people who got denied like processes and so on, and the right wing is more talking about how like people are celebrating his death. Not celebrating, but they're not particularly sad about it either. All right. It's really good. Yeah, Demi, you can sort of like cater your news to what you want to see, and it's like, I don't think that, yeah, it's too bad. But I think because I want to do the podcast that I want to do, I want to sort of like keep an eye out on the news. And like in Australia we have like government funded news network, ABC, and it's a little bit right wing at the moment, which is bad. It's traditionally been left wing. Okay, let's watch this video. So the Amnesty International, I think yesterday, came out with this, December 5th, yes. Amnesty International investigation concludes Israel is committing genocide against Palestinians in Gaza. Amnesty International's research has found sufficient basis to conclude that Israel is committed and is continuing to commit genocide against Palestinians in the occupied Gaza Strip, the organization said in a landmark new report published today. The report, you feel like you are subhuman, Israel's genocide against Palestinians in Gaza.
I might put that in here, and then if people want to click on it, I can get it. It's huge. I went, I had a look at it, and I was like, whoa, that it's a really hefty document. It's 300 pages. Documents how during its military offensive launched in the wake of the deadly Hamas-led attacks in southern Israel on 7th of this genocide and they must take action resolute action. You must ask that this transferring weapon that are nature has such that this unity of heart you must be real, which was the fact in American small scale troops. Actually, from those I think that was a good overview. Oh, that's good. It's in a few different languages. Oh boy, okay. Yeah. All right. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, which is good, but it is pretty bad. The problem, I think now, so I think really it's just the US is the last one supporting Israel. I can't imagine how stressful it would be as a child to have to go through that. Like, just never sort of having that normalcy. And I've seen things like it'll take, I think, like 70 years to build Gaza back up to what it was. You know, like they've bombed hospitals and universities and so many other things. Yeah. So long story short, 1 hour 46 minutes. Australia really needs, we have to change our tact. And yes, it would have been better if we were saying stop this yesterday, but guess when the next best time is now. And I think that we can start to do that with pressure from people who are fed up. Okay. It isn't a single issue. I know there's more at stake than Gaza, but I think that it's a good start. It shows people that you care just about other people. I think Australia needs to focus on economy and not get caught up in the bullshit that they're going to get caught up in. Like, I wonder how many percentage of trans people are in Australia. Percentage 2 to 3% of people, young people in Australia, identify as transgender, gender diverse, or non-binary. So that's not a large percentage of people. Don't focus on them.
if you see the right wing trying to focus on trans people, there was a thing that I saw on Majority Report the other day, is like how people trying to guess how many people are transgender and then like what the reality is. Maybe percentage misconceptions. Sorry, everybody, let me keep talking. Yeah, a lot of, I'll have to get that for my next thing, but the next political thing I want to talk about is young men and their content, as well as Fatima Payman. I want to do a bit of a highlight on her to talk about Gaza in a different way. Yeah, and I'll also do want to talk because so they're likely to bring in the transgender thing and also abortion. So that's another thing. We're not going to be losing our access to abortion like they did in America. All these things they want to bring over here, we've got time to fight, but we need to do it now. We can see what's happening. That it would be as bad as Trump because we still have like normal people in the Liberal Party, like even though they're kind of like racist and everything, they're not like MAGA and Republicans. Remember, MAGA and Republicans are the same. All right, I'm gonna leave it there. Thank you very much. It's getting warm, I tell you. I should have turned the air conditioner on, but I didn't, and I need to get the remote control. Thanks for being with me. Thanks to Demi and William for the chatty McChat. Thanks to anybody who's watching it on the replay. And Tishmas, I don't know when I'm starting Tishmas, but it'll be soon. And I felt like I missed things. I felt like, oh crap, I should have added something from Monate. And I miss Kristen Wyatt, so I might have to do a couple of bonus episodes of Tishmas. So yeah, uh, I think that men can be good support in abortion protests and stuff like that. Yeah, like pro-abortion or pro-choice. And trans men can get pregnant as well. So, like there is something to be said for men being involved and also just having the option. Like I think because I think the way that we can use it positively is that men who have privilege and are pro-choice can use that privilege to support women. And I think that's a way of looking at it. Like they can say, like what you're saying it is a woman's issue, and I support women to make that decision, and I think you should too. Do you know what I mean? Like you can echo your support for women making that choice, women and femmes and people with uteruses and so on, because you trust us to be in charge of our plumbing. Oh, I will have a dog moment. Dog. Dog. Murphy's always kind of close. Hello. 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 He's the best one to have too because he doesn't lick my face. Murphy's pro-choice. He chooses to bark at the neighbors all the time. Tom, what are you doing? What are you sniffing? Hey? Good boy. He's a good boy. He's a sweet boy. Aren't you? Aren't you? You a sweet boy? Ooh. Good boy. All right, I'll put it down. Ugh. See, he doesn't play like with the others. He doesn't play ball, so he's not getting enough exercise at the moment. So I need to take him for a walk. It's been so hot. Okay, we need to go have a wee walk, hold the dogs, and yeah, and turn the air conditioner on and have a bit of a chill, and work out what's next. All right, thanks everybody. I will see you on the flip side. If you can like, subscribe. I know you guys already subscribed. The legends. Oh. I love that, William. Every sperm is sacred. I know, isn't it just? If every sperm is sacred, men, what? Explain the sock. You know what I'm talking about. All right, I'm going to end on that one. Is that crass? Yeah, that's okay. All right, thanks everybody. Bye.